There has been one beauty category that I have been obsessing with lately, much more than makeup, much more than skincare, much more than hair care, and that category is fragrance. You guys, I have been really in love with fragrances lately. I've been buying a lot of fragrances lately, a lot more than I have ever purchased in the past. I know part of that has to do with the fact that the fragrance community right now is poppin'. There are so many new perfumes coming out all the time, whether it be in mainstream places like Sephora, like Nordstrom, like Bloomingdale's. Also, there's been so many indie releases. If you guys are into indie perfumes, or I guess they're not called indie, they're called niche perfumes. I'm working on the lingo. I'm working on it. Either way, I figured today I would go ahead and do a perfume collection with you. My collection has changed a lot over the past couple years. I think the last time I did a perfume collection, it was a few years ago at least. And let me just say, a lot has changed. I have added a lot of fragrance into my life lately, and I'm kind of loving it. I'm kind of into it. We're gonna try to do this as officially as possible. I'm gonna run through all the fragrances I have. I actually have a few that I'm probably gonna end up decluttering as well. I kind of like doing that when I show and tell with you guys because it's a great way to just be realistic about the fragrances that I'm excited about, the ones I actually wear, and the ones that are realistically just taking up space in my collection, and I've just moved on. But let's jump into it. I kind of divided these into more mainstream or like not niche brands. And then we've got, you know, smaller brands or more niche brands, or maybe brands that aren't quite as easy to find in a place like a Sephora. But we'll start with the mainstream stuff first because why not? First off, we're gonna talk about one of my favorite vanillas, the vanilla that really got me into the whole gourmand, indulgent vanilla family, perfume note love, I don't know. KAYALI, Vanilla 28. This is a very loved perfume. Guaranteed you guys have seen this. I've had this bottle for a few years now, and I do love this vanilla. This is definitely a more floral vanilla. So since I have gotten this, I've gotten a lot more vanillas that I think I do like better, but this was kind of my gateway vanilla. The notes in here are vanilla orchid and jasmine in the top, brown sugar, tonka bean in the middle, and then the base is amber, amberwood, musk, and patchouli. So you can tell that even though there is a base of vanilla in here, there is a lot of floral, and you can definitely tell. You can definitely smell that top note of like the jasmine, vanilla orchid. Like there is a lightness to this vanilla. It's not as rich and indulgent as some of the other vanillas we're gonna chat about, but I do really like this fragrance, and I do get compliments when I wear this pretty often. That's always a win in my book. So definitely a good one. The next fragrance, which is a newer one to my collection, this is the Philosophy Fresh Cream Warm Cashmere. This scent is really popular. I wanna say it got really popular on TikTok recently. This is so much more just like warm and indulgent. It's almost like a warm frosting. It smells so good. The fragrance notes in this one are vanilla, cashmere wood, musk, sandalwood, and coconut. I wanna say it's that coconut that's really adding that creaminess. This is like a really beautiful, like lactonic, creamy, indulgent vanilla musk. Oh, this is so good. I feel like this is a pretty safe blind buy if you didn't even smell this, as long as you like vanilla's rich, indulgent, gourmand scents. I feel like this is kind of a universally loved fragrance. This next perfume is also a little newer to me. You guys are gonna hear me say that a lot because like I said, I've been buying a lot of perfume lately. This one was actually gifted to me from my friend Lauren May. This is YSL Black Opium Le Parfum, I think. Is that the official name of it? I believe it is. It's the one that's like the black bottle with the black label. YSL has a lot of different versions of Black Opium. This one is really good if you like vanillas. I will say this one does to me smell, the top of it smells typical designer. I don't know how else to describe it other than that. I don't want to call it generic, but you know when you walk into the Macy's fragrance section, and there's just an overall designer fragrance vibe. Like you've got all the Chanel sprayed in the air, you've got all the Dolce & Gabbanas, all the YSLs, all the different fragrances that are all just kind of mixing in the air, and you've just got that overall like, I am in a perfume section of a department store. That's sort of what the top of this fragrance smells like. I will say the few times I've wore this, it dries down very interestingly. It's like a soft, decadent, vanilla-y type scent, and on me, it doesn't project out that much. It's actually a lot more delicate than I expected it to be. As far as the notes, the top notes in this have cinnamon, pear, green mandarin. The middle notes are solar notes, jasmine, sambac, and orange blossom. And the base notes are a bunch of different vanillas. You've got Madagascar vanilla, bourbon vanilla, vanilla absolute, coffee, vanilla orchid, and patchouli. This fragrance has a ton of notes. I've noticed as I've kind of dipped my toe into the fragrance area that the more designer fragrances tend to have a lot of notes, and they tend to just be super blended. So while there are like 10 different fragrance notes in there, it just kind of has an overall just like, oh yeah, this is a designer fragrance. Versus what I've noticed is a lot of niche fragrances tend to have a slightly smaller list of notes. Therefore, the notes that are in them, I feel like you can smell a little bit more clearly. Hard to describe, but this is just like, you know, it's like if you threw everything into the blender and blended it up and made just like an everything smoothie. That's what this smells like. It's just like an everything fragrance. This fragrance was a very, very expensive blind buy for me. I completely just bought this on a whim. I think it was Marlena, Makeup Geek here on YouTube, who has been raving about this fragrance and has said that if you love vanillas, this is a good one. I didn't even smell it. I just went for it. This is the Guerlain Spiritus Double Vanille. Gorgeous, gorgeous bottle. I mean, just beautiful. And if you bought it on the Guerlain website, you can actually have your name etched in the bottle. So I did do that, as you guys can see. Stunning. Like, the bottle is stunning. You can see I haven't used it very much, and I think it's because it has a smoky note in the top that I don't love. I love everything there is to love about vanillas, but when it goes smoky, I don't know, my nose hasn't acclimated to smoky scents yet. I know a lot of people love things like the Replica by the Fireplace scent, or even Tom Ford Tobacco Vanille. That one is very popular, but anytime I smell those fragrances, I cannot get past the absolute campfire that is that smoke. I'm not into it. So this one, I wouldn't say it's straight campfire, but there is a smoke note, and you can tell that even in the fragrance notes. The top notes are incense, pink pepper, and bergamot, and I think it's that incense that I'm having a hard time getting past. But as far as the middle notes and the base notes, they're all things that I think I would like. The middle notes are cedar, ylang ylang, Bulgarian rose, and jasmine, and the base notes, of course, vanilla and benzoin. I've definitely branched away from super floral fragrances, but if the floral is in something like a vanilla or in something gourmand, I don't typically mind it, but I think it's the incense. It's the incense in the top here that is preventing me from absolutely loving this vanilla and wearing it all the time. This is another designer scent that I purchased a few years back at Sephora because I wanted to buy a new fragrance, and I did some research, and this one came up as a really popular one. This is the Dior Hypnotic Poison. Obviously the bottle, I mean, the poison apple look of this bottle is just gorgeous. This is another one that, while I think it's really beautiful, it does, again, in a sense, smell sort of generic designer. I would say this is like a designer almondy vanilla. I just have to say that once you get into niche perfumes, to me, it just ruins designer fragrances completely. Like, once you get into niche, I can't walk into a Macy's and find a fragrance that I love as much as some of the niche stuff. When we get into that, you guys will see why. But This one is still beautiful. As far as the notes, you've got top notes of coconut, plum, and apricot, middle notes of Brazilian rosewood, jasmine, caraway, tuberose, rose, and lily of the valley, and base notes of vanilla, almond, sandalwood, and musk. Remember how I said designer fragrances tend to have a million notes in them, so they're just super blended. It's like, again, designer DNA with a little bit more almond and vanilla in it. And I like it, but I don't think it's one that I'm in love with, especially compared to a lot of the other stuff I have. Let's run through all of the Jo Malone fragrances I have, because I do have a good handful of them and a lot of them aren't available anymore, so we're just gonna run through them. This one is available. This is a permanent Jo Malone scent. I do love this fragrance. This is Mimosa and Cardamom. I've talked about this scent for years on my channel. It's a good one. It's a very, very simple lineup of notes. You've got the top notes of cardamom, middle notes of mimosa, and base notes of tonka bean. Super simple, but super beautiful. A gorgeous unisex sweater weather. Everybody, like I could see everybody wearing this scent and just feeling clean. I think because I found it in the fall time and I was wearing it a lot, and I've gone through the smaller 1 ounce bottle of this before I purchased this big one, and I do love this scent. I think I'll always have this scent in my collection. It's just so beautiful. The only other larger Jo Malone bottle that I have in my collection, this is Ginger Biscuit. This was re-released this year, but I also actually have the original one that was released, I don't know, what was it, back in 2012 or something? They smell identical. They smell exactly the same. They are a full photocopy of each other, which I love. I love if a company is able to re-release something over a decade later and still have it smell exactly the same. That's not always the case because ingredients change, ingredient manufacturers change, things can kind of be tweaked over time, but these smell absolutely identical and I love it. The top notes in this fragrance are ginger, cinnamon, nutmeg. The middle notes are caramel and hazelnut, and the base notes are vanilla and tonka bean. Anything with a vanilla base note is probably gonna get to me, and this is just gorgeous. It's a beautiful gourmand, a beautiful, slightly spicy, but in my opinion, still a wearable gourmand. I don't need to go on and on about this because I don't even know if you can find this anymore, but if you happen to stumble across it, it is beautiful. And Jo Malone doesn't do a lot of foodie fragrances, so when they do, I kind of snatch them up quick. So I love this one. Quickly running through some of the other limited edition Jo Malones I have in my collection. This also came out with the Ginger Biscuit originally. This is Redcurrant and Cream. This one was so pretty. I do think this liquid has turned a bit because from my memory, it doesn't quite smell the same. But again, it's been over 10 years, so that's not totally surprising. But the notes in this fragrance are red currant, big strawberry, musk, and raspberry. So it was a really, really pretty, and still kind of is a really pretty fruity fragrance with just a little bit of like a musky base to it. And this was the other fragrance that I purchased with those other two in that collection. This is Bitter Orange and Chocolate. This was the OG orange chocolate fragrance in my collection, and I will say I have tried to recreate the orange chocolate love in some of the other niche fragrances that I've found, but this one was just, this is bringing back memories. I purchased these while I was still in college, so smelling them now does, it kind of brings me back a little bit. It's crazy how scent can do that. It's like a time machine. Like you can smell something that you haven't smelled from your childhood and you'll be right back in that classroom or something, you know? It's very candied. The chocolate in here almost smells like a chocolate Tootsie Roll versus an authentic, like rich, indulgent cacao chocolate, you know? As far as the notes, you've got dark chocolate, bitter orange, cacao pod, coconut, and coumarin. It's pretty. I do like this fragrance. If Jo Malone re-released this, I'm gonna be honest, I would buy it again. Despite having, I would buy it again. If you guys know anything about the Jo Malone fragrance house, there are two scents that I feel like are just their classics. You've got Peony and Blush Suede. I've used a decent amount of it, as you guys can see, considering this scent isn't something that I would probably reach for nowadays. It's definitely too floral. floral for what I gravitate towards now, but it is a really beautiful floral. The top notes in this are red apple, the middle notes are peony, rose, carnation, and jasmine, and the base is suede. It's very pretty. This to me just feels super floral, super fresh, super girly. You know those girls that are always wearing really pretty floral summer dresses? This is what they would be wearing, I feel. Like this is what they would smell like. The other classic Jo Malone, we've got wood sage and sea salt. This is kind of a polarizing scent, I feel. It's another Jo Malone, like classic unisex fragrance. Of course, any fragrance is unisex, but you know, this one I could see just anybody wearing. It is salty. It definitely has to me, the first thing my nose smells is salt and lime, like the rim of a margarita glass. That's what I'm getting out of this first. As far as the fragrance notes, you've got sea salt, sage, grapefruit, ambrette, musk mallow, and seaweed. Sure, I don't know what seaweed specifically smells like, but yeah, the sea salt and the grapefruit. I think that's what I'm smelling more than anything for me. Also remember, everybody's nose is different. Everybody's nose will pick up on notes differently. That's kind of the fun thing about fragrance, is you can literally be right there with your friends smelling the same thing, but both of your noses will pick up the scent a little differently, and you'll also have different scent memories tied to certain things. Like it'll remind you of a different food or a different place or a different time in your life, and that's just so cool to me. This is definitely a unique Jo Malone. This was another limited edition. It's the last Jo Malone I have before we're gonna move on to another house. I definitely have the most Jo Malone fragrances out of any other perfume house, but this one I do really love. This one is called Honey and Crocus. I also just love the bottle this one came in. It's got like a matte, almost like a stone-esque bottom and that beautiful glossy top. Jo Malone's packaging on this collection was just stunning, and this scent, it's like a floral honey to me. As far as the notes, you've got almond milk, honey, saffron, and lavender. Yeah, that's what I'm smelling. I couldn't peg the lavender, but it's definitely some type of flower. There's that honey in there, that classic, very sweet, almost earthy, almost, I don't know. I mean, you guys know what honey smells like. It's earthy and it's sort of medicinal, like sort of cough drop-y. And yeah, that almond milk, it's a slightly creamy, almondy. I really, really love this fragrance. I'm kind of sad that Jo Malone hasn't kept something like this around, because like I said, the Jo Malone house tends to lean, in my opinion, pretty floral overall. They definitely don't do a lot of gourmands, and the ones they do tend to be limited edition. So if they released like a honey-esque collection or something just nutty like almonds, pistachios, like things like that, I feel like that would be such a big hit for them. Okay guys, let's do it. Let's get into it. Let's get into the more niche fragrances, the smaller brands, the ones that some of them are a little harder to find, but you guys, totally worth it. This one I would say is one of the most popular niche fragrances right now in the gourmand world specifically. You've got Giardini di Toscana Bianco Latte. This perfume has gotten so much buzz all over TikTok. The way I describe it is it's like a cool vanilla. A lot of times vanillas tend to go very warm, very indulgent, very rich. And while this is still very elegant and very pleasing, it's not warm. It's the difference between a hot vanilla latte and an iced vanilla latte. This is your iced vanilla latte right here. Although there's no coffee notes, don't get it twisted. It's the iced version of a vanilla. As far as the notes, you've got the top notes of caramel, mid notes of coumarin and honey, and base notes of vanilla and white musk. Really straightforward fragrance notes. You can tell all the way through. It's rich, it's indulgent, but I think it must be the white musk. I'm not really sure what's making it a cooler vanilla over a warmer vanilla, but it is so pretty. This is also one of those gourmand scents that I think would run through the spring and summertime. Sometimes gourmands can go so warm and so indulgent that if you wear them on a hot day, they get kind of cloying. Like they just get they get overwhelming. They almost get like stinky sometimes. But this is one of those that I feel like has enough coolness to it that I could still wear it in the summertime and it wouldn't be just like overwhelming, like cloying, you know? Now, if Bianca Latte was the iced vanilla latte, the warm, hot, extra hot with the extra shot vanilla latte would be this one. This is Tahoda by Indult. Wow. This is one that I was introduced to by my friend Lauren May. If you guys don't know, Lauren May has a fragrance channel as well called Lauren May Fragrance. She has introduced me to some of my all-time favorite perfumes right now, and this is one of them. This is just straight liquid vanilla ice cream. That's the way Lauren's described it, and I fully agree with that. It is so rich. It is so decadent. It is the vanilla of all vanillas to ever exist. I get so many compliments when I wear this as well. This seems to be a fan favorite. This is kind of what I was hoping the Guerlain one would be. This one is just, it's more smoky. It's a little bit more complex for sure. It has a lot more fragrance notes in it. This one is straightforward. Even as far as the notes, you've got vanilla and you've got musk. It's super straightforward, nothing to fuss about, but it is the most rich, indulgent vanilla. This is one that I probably wouldn't wear in the summertime, especially not here in LA when it gets like 100+ degrees. This would choke you out, but it is so good for the winter time. Oh my God, I am fully continuing to embrace the colder weather we have here because I'm able to wear this without choking to death. It is so gorgeous. I should have just gotten these out of the way early on. My favorite fragrances. These are the top 2 fragrances in my collection of all time. I've told you guys that I love my gourmand. I really do. But I will say that these are the most unique smelling fragrances in my collection. They're also the ones I get the most compliments on. These are the ones that people love the most. You've got the Baccarat Rouge 540 and the Baccarat Rouge Extrait de Parfum. These are 2 sister fragrances. They do have different notes, which is kind of surprising because I do feel like they are noticeably the same scent, just in slightly different ways. So the original Baccarat Rouge, as far as notes, you've got the top notes of saffron and jasmine, middle notes of amberwood and ambergris, and base notes of fir, resin, and cedar. I'm gonna be honest, this is one of those scents that I can't particularly peg the different notes. To me, it just smells like Baccarat. This is almost one of those scents that it's become a new scent in my memory. It's like how you smell oranges, you smell laundry detergent, you smell vanilla cupcake frosting, and then you smell Baccarat. And it's just like very distinct. It's almost like I can't pinpoint the different notes. To me, this is just such a well-blended, well-balanced fragrance. It's its own thing now. I know this has gained so much hype and so much traction all over the internet, but it's still the fragrance that I get the most compliments on, by far. This is the one that people will tell me I smell amazing anytime I wear this. And same goes for the Extrait de Parfum. This one I probably get more compliments on this one because I've just been wearing this one longer. I purchased this one before I purchased the original Baccarat. And this is my signature scent, you guys. I absolutely love this. As far as the fragrance notes, you can tell they're slightly different. Top notes of bitter almond and saffron, middle notes of Egyptian jasmine and cedar, and base notes of ambergris, woody notes, and musk. It's the almond for me. The almond to me makes the biggest difference, I think. To me, it's less airy. It's less whipped than Baccarat Rouge, the original one. This one is just more indulgent. So nowadays what I've been doing is wearing Baccarat Rouge during the day, and then I'll pull out the Extrait version for the evening. This is my go-to date night fragrance. It's my go-to when I wanna just feel super dressed up, super dolled up. And like I said, I get compliments on this pretty much every time I wear it. I love them both though. I think I'm gonna have both of these in my collection forever. I mean, these are two fragrances that they won't be going anywhere. I love them. This is another fragrance that was gifted to me by Lauren May. This is Goldfield Banks Sunset Hour. I don't have anything like this in my collection. This is a super fun, pretty, floral fruit. Actually, I should have said fruity floral because the first thing I smell is just like a fruity cocktail. I really, really love this fragrance. I would say to me, it feels like a more grown-up Escada or like a more grown-up Bath and Body Works like tropical body splash. It's so pretty. It's so fruity. I love it. As far as the notes, you've got desert peach, raspberry, cashmere wood, sandalwood, mandarin orange, pink pepper, jasmine sambac, benzoin, and ginger. So pretty. I can see this is gonna be like my go-to summertime scent because it's not cloying, it's not heavy, it's not, you know, so rich like some of the other scents I have. This is just so fun and pretty. I want to go ahead and talk about the two scents that I have from this indie or niche perfumer. This one is Theodoros Kalotinis. It's Greek. You can tell it's Greek. You can tell I'm not Greek. This one is in Velvet Chocolate. I have two fragrances from this fragrance house. They're both very, very new to my collection. I found this brand at Scent Bar here in LA. Online, they're called Lucky Scent. It's the same people. This is a scent that I purchased because I really wanted to kind of recreate my own little orange chocolate vibe. You guys know how I raved about the Jo Malone orange chocolate, so I kind of wanted to do something similar by piecing the parts together. This is honestly just a straight up chocolate scent to me. It's mostly chocolate, but it's got a little bit of vanilla to kind of ground it, so it's not just like chocolate, but it's beautiful. It's like a sweet chocolate. It's so simple. The fragrance notes are chocolate, cacao, vanilla, and tonka bean. Like I said, there's nothing fussy about this fragrance. It is what you think it's gonna be, velvet chocolate. Absolutely beautiful. Again, like I said, I kind of want to mix this. I want to play with this, use it as like an ingredient in my cocktail that I put on my body. Very happy to have this. The other one that I have from the same brand is called Coffee Addict. Another very straightforward scent in terms of what you think you're gonna get. It is a beautiful coffee. Honestly, when I sprayed this, I immediately thought of a vanilla latte. That is genuinely what it is. Sometimes coffee fragrances, I've noticed, can go a little too earthy. Obviously, coffee is like an earthy, kind of grounded scent. And some coffee fragrances are just too earthy. They're too green. They're almost too stinky in a way. This one is gorgeous. It's a vanilla latte in a bottle, in my opinion. The fragrance notes in here are coffee, caramel, vanilla, and cacao pod. So straightforward. Everything I love. Caramel, vanilla, coffee, and cacao. I mean, what more could I want? I've got two BYREDO fragrances in my collection. I've had these for a while now and I do love them. One of them might be on the chopping block. We'll see. But the first one we've got is BYREDO Bal de Freak. Absolutely love this fragrance. This one is such a pretty, citrusy, slightly woody, really fresh fragrance. I mean, this one is just beautiful. Another one that I think could definitely be unisex. I've kind of considered this like a more refined version of Mimosa and Cardamom from Jo Malone. To me, I would use them in the same, like I would use them interchangeably, kind of. As far as the notes, you've got Amalfi lemon, Amalfi lemon? Why are my words just disappearing from my brain? Anyway, another word I don't know how to pronounce, tagates, black currant, bergamot, African orange flower, violet, cyclamen, jasmine, base notes of vetiver, musk, amber, and Virginia cedar. Way more complicated than Mimosa and Cardamom. I think that fragrance had like 3 notes in it, but so pretty. Just a really pretty, light, citrusy, slightly woody scent. This one, again, I will definitely be reaching for more in the spring and summertime because it's just light. Again, not cloying, not heavy, just light and bright and pretty and like clean girl. The other BYREDO scent I have is called Flowerhead. Now this one, we'll see. This one might be on the chopping block. This is a fragrance that if I smelled it now, I don't think I would purchase it. It's floral, but it's almost like a licorice flower. When I smell it, I smell licorice flower. And I think that's why I bought it, because I was really into florals for a little bit. Actually, for a lot of it. I was really into florals all the way through high school and college. So I was really into florals for most of my life. But yeah, I don't know. This just isn't doing it for me anymore. It's kind of aggressive. As far as the notes, you've got top notes of angelica, cranberry, and lemon. Middle notes of jasmine, sambac, tuberose, green notes, and rose petals. And then base notes of suede and ambergris. I don't know. I mean, I can't even peg any of those particular notes. It just smells like floral licorice. That's literally what this smells like. And again, for a time period, clearly I liked that. Clearly I was into that. I am not super into that anymore. Another fragrance potentially on the chopping block. Again, this is one I loved for a while. I really raved about this one. This is my only Juliette Has a gun, and this is in Lady Vengeance. I really loved this fragrance for a while. This was my, oh yeah, it's flashing me back to all the Indian weddings I've gone to in the past like 6 years. This is floral. It is floral. It's like a really sexy floral, a very mature floral. You know how sometimes when you think floral, you think of like Marc Jacobs Daisy or something like, oh, it's like a cute little teenager vibe. This is grown up. This is mature. As far as the notes, you've got top notes of lavender and bergamot, middle notes of Bulgarian rose, Moroccan rose, patchouli, isoe super, and geranium, and then base notes of white musk, ambroxan, and vanilla. I think it's those molecular notes, the ambroxan and the isoe super, that keep me kind of coming back to smelling this. I think it's also those notes that are making this the scent that kind of, it lingers on your palate. You know those scents that like when somebody walks by and you don't smell it immediately, but after they've kind of passed you, there's like a scent bubble that they've left in the trail, and it's not aggressive. It's not like choking you out. It's just pretty, and you're almost like, whoa, what was that person wearing? That's what this scent does, and I think it's because of the isoe super and the ambroxan. But again, there are other fragrances that I've fallen in love with that have those molecular notes to them that don't have all of the floral that this has. For any occasion that I would have pulled this out, which again, Indian weddings, celebrations, nighttime things, I would just wear my Baccarat Rouge. Like, this is what I'm gonna be wearing now. Remember when I said I went to Scent Bar to get this velvet chocolate because I was into like the whole chocolate note thing? That same day, I walked out with another chocolate fragrance. This is Montale Chocolate Greedy. This is, you know what, I'm gonna take this off. The Montale packaging is very unique. It has like a little, and then you kind of pop this off, and then the atomizer is right there. Unique, interesting, little loud. But this scent, when I sprayed it on me, I immediately smelled Cocoa Puffs. That's something that Lauren May told me would be the case, and she was absolutely right. This is Cocoa Puffs in a bottle. It definitely has that top chocolatey, like when you open a bag of Cocoa Puffs and pour it in the bowl, the first thing you smell is just sugary chocolate. Like sugary chocolate gets you, but then as it kind of sits on your palate, the powderiness kind of comes out, that kind of crystallized sugar that's on top of the Cocoa Puff. That kind of comes out as it dries down. It's very interesting. It's a very unique, it's definitely to me one of those more photorealistic scents. Like I can imagine Cocoa Puffs when I smell this. Might not be the most wearable fragrance for some people, but I purchased it simply because I thought it was super unique, and I loved that I could smell this and get Cocoa Puffs. As far as the fragrance notes, really simple. You've got cacao, vanilla, tonka bean, bitter orange, dried fruits, and coffee. I don't particularly smell the coffee. I don't even particularly smell the bitter orange very much. To me, this is chocolate and vanilla and like powderiness. Very, very unique, very cool. If you like chocolate, but more specifically, if you like Cocoa Puffs, check this out. It's Cocoa Puffs in a bottle. This next one, another scent I found at Scent Bar. This is by Lorenzo Pazzaglia. Is this Italian? Yes, it is. Okay. Well, this one is called Sugar Kisses. This is what it looks like. So cute. The little cap has little black like crystals in the eyes of the owl, if you guys can see. I will say in Scent Bar, to me, it smelled like a vanilla latte. Like it smelled like a Starbucks drink. But I will say, once I got it home and I wore it on me, it smells a little bit less Starbucks drink to me and smells a little bit more like a coconut macaron, but like a coffee flavored coconut macaron, if that makes sense. As far as the notes, you've got a shit ton of notes. We've got top notes of cacao butter, milk, heliotrope, frangipane, and orange peel. Middle notes of vanilla, coconut, chocolate, hazelnut, dates, tonka, and cacao blossom. And base notes of caramel, toffee, vanilla bean, brown sugar, white musk, benzoin, and rum. One thing I will say, and you probably will notice based on my collection, I don't like alcohol notes in my fragrances. There are a ton of niche fragrances that rely on a base or a middle note of something alcoholic, whether that be rum or bourbon or I don't know if vodka's a note, but something really like, you know, alcoholic. And I will say, I don't drink alcohol. I don't like the smell of alcohol. I don't like the taste of alcohol, and I don't really like it on me. I can appreciate those scents on other people, like if a man is wearing it or my friend is wearing it, I can appreciate them, but on me, I get a little nauseous sometimes. This is one that is very indulgent though. Similar to Indult Tahoda, I would probably only wear this in the winter time because it is so indulgent, and in my opinion, pretty unique too. I love this fragrance. This one might have been one of my first niche fragrances that I added to my collection. This is by the perfumer Profumi di Firenze. It is Italian. Okay. This one is called Vaniglia del Madagascar. This is very pretty. Another very straightforward scent in terms of the fragrance notes. You've got vanilla, whipped cream, and lily of the valley. So pretty. This is a very, very beautiful, sweet, but lighter vanilla scent. To me, this is almost like the spring and summer version of Indult Tahoda. Tahoda is rich. It is indulgent. It's a wintertime fragrance. It's heavy. This one is light. That whipped cream is definitely adding the sweetness, but the fluffiness. I've heard someone describe this as the Oreo cream in like an Oreo cookie, just the cream part, and I agree with that. It's that sweet, whipped, almost moussey-like vanilla. Just gorgeous. I mean, this is gonna be definitely my spring and summer vanilla scent. It is stunning. This next scent is one that was love upon first sniff. This is by the brand Idolo. This is called Love and Crime. This is another beautiful gourmand scent. I will say on my skin, this is orange chocolate. You guys, this is like the adult, grown-up, indulgent, true, mature version of the Jo Malone Bitter Orange and Chocolate. This one is just so sweet. It's sweet. It's like Tootsie Roll chocolate sweet. This one is more of an authentic true rich cacao sweet. In terms of the notes, you've got top notes of blood mandarin and pink pepper, middle notes of sugar, star anise, and floral notes, and base notes of vanilla and cacao. Just amazing. Rich, indulgent, gourmand, beautiful, beautiful orange chocolate. Also to note, this is more of a wearable orange chocolate. Sometimes things are so like photorealistic that they're not necessarily the most wearable fragrance. And I can appreciate something like that too. You know, to me, sometimes fragrance is it just is what it is. It doesn't have to be something that you want to wear all over your body. Sometimes it's just nice to smell. But this one is, of course, it's nice to smell, but it's also very wearable for an orange chocolate fragrance, in my opinion. And then the final perfume I have in my collection. This is one I purchased recently from Sephora. This is PHLUR Missing Person. This is a super, super pretty, just a pretty sandalwood type scent. This is like a no perfume. You know how people like Glossier You because it's supposed to be a perfume for people who don't want to smell like perfume. This one was another, like, I sprayed it on me, I walked around for a few hours, and I knew I had to purchase it. It was amazing. In terms of the notes, you've got top notes of musk, jasmine, and bergamot, middle notes of neroli, cyclamen, and orange blossom, and base notes of white musk, Australian sandalwood, and white wood. Again, this is one that is super unique in my collection because I don't have another kind of no fragrance. All the other perfumes I showed you are very noticeably a perfume. Most of them are very noticeably vanilla or gourmand or indulgent, edible. Some of them are floral, some of them are fruity. This is one that's none of that. It's just very clean, pretty, just like neutral. Like you could wear this in any area and I don't think it would choke anybody out, you know. It's just so pretty. And that was my full entire fragrance collection. If even 3 of you guys are still watching this video, I thank you so much. I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sticking with me for this one. Out of all of these perfumes, I know you guys are wondering, Ishani, which ones are you actually gonna declutter? We're gonna declutter 3. We're gonna declutter Dior Hypnotic Poison, we're gonna declutter Flowerhead by BYREDO, and we will declutter Juliette Has. It's been a long video, you guys. Juliette Has Lady Vengeance. 3 down. Not bad. Not bad. I will go ahead and list and link every single perfume in the description box down below for you guys. If you guys want to go back and check out the names, check out the notes, check out the prices, anything you guys want to see, it will all be linked for you. Thank you guys for being here. I love you guys from the absolute bottom of my heart. Thank you for your support. And I will talk to you in another video very soon. I'll see you then. Bye.